Now, the Dow, though, on track to have its worst April since the Great Depression, and the S&P is having its worst start to any presidency since this data started being tracked in 1928.
I will say this. We are talking about tariffs, and I know I get it because a lot of people are writing in. They're like, don't say it. I don't want to hear the word tariff again. But right now, 250% increase in tariffs. They will never come back for that price tag of $24.99. And they may never come back, period.
Oh, that's gotta hurt!
When the fallout from one man's ego-driven maniacal effort to tank the economy, taking your 401k with it, makes its way to the channel that you wake up to find playing at 3 a.m. after a night out, you know we've reached late stage find out phase.
And they've taken that hand and made it worse.
So what do you think it means for the economy now?
I think we're jumping into recession. You never just glide in. We're going into it right now. I think you'll see housing continue to slow down given the elevated interest rate outlook. So new home sales probably slow down. Investment spending is likely going to drop meaningfully. I mean, you're already seeing that across a range of surveys. And I think employment will be the next thing that moderates. Job finding rates have collapsed. Quits rates are collapsing. I mean, this is it's not a good situation. So I don't like playing this sort of ridiculous game about 50% chance over the next 12 months. I mean, we're in it. We're in it.
With US stock markets falling again yesterday as Donald Trump continued attacks against the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, who the US president called a, quote, major loser for not lowering interest rates. I mean, you could literally track the downward spiral each time the president opened his mouth or fired up X to send a message to the Fed chair.
Casey, you can almost set your watch to it. Every time the president lashes out at the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, and talks about either firing him or calls him a name, the markets have responded very negatively. And that's what we saw all day long today. The president putting out a message about 10 minutes after the markets open. And let's take a look at that. I'm told that this is one of the things that drove the sell-off throughout the day. The president says this: there can be a slowing of the economy unless Mr. Too Late, he's talking to Jerome Powell, a major loser, lowers interest rates. Now, the market is fixated on Powell being fired. So that is one of the things that is really driving all this. Now, there's very much an open question. Is the chair of the Federal Reserve able to be fired? It's an independent branch. But the president says, if I want him out, I'll be out he'll be out as fast as I say so. So, look, there's a big division and conversation going on still inside the administration about Jerome Powell's future, and the markets are reacting to that.
And while the repercussions of such are evident in the numbers, it appears that the reality of Trump's economy found its way onto the most unlikely of channels. No, not Fox News. That said, they're definitely earning their money trying to spin Trump's handling of the economy.
A sea of red, as I've been saying all morning. The Dow now off 944 points. It's about 2.5%. That's about how much it lost last week, and today it's already doubled that amount. The S&P down 2.5% and the NASDAQ down 2.8%. So in other words, it's a sell-off.
But the shopping channel of all places.
To be working on it and all of that stuff. So I will say this. We are talking about tariffs, and I know I get it because a lot of people are writing in. They're like, don't say it. I don't want to hear the word tariff again. But right now, 250% increase in tariffs. That's what we're facing. So all of these items, seriously, they will never come back for that price tag of $24.99. And they may never come back, period. Take a close-up look. This is the final 19.
Now, this comes as more disaster looms merely a few months into Trump 2.0, as Trump's Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, found himself entangled in yet another signal leak.
And get along to go along. And, start doing Meet the Press and going to the Council on Foreign Relations and spending time with all the new cocktail sipping crowd. That's not why I'm here. I'm here because President Trump asked me to bring warfighting back to the Pentagon every single day. Right. That is our focus.
And if there's one person equipped to shed absolutely zero light on the situation, it's Caroline Leavitt. Even when the pandering and excuse that it's somehow an inside job to oust Hegseth gets called into question, with a reporter pointing out, wasn't it his own people? She was on hand to say, Nothing, absolutely nothing at all.
I have two questions, one on the Pentagon and another on the economy. You said on Fox News that the entire Pentagon is working against Secretary Hegseth, but the people who were fired were Hegseth's own guys. So how do you square that, and what do you say to concerns that that's bad management?
They were Pentagon employees who leaked against their boss to news agencies in this room, and it's been clear since day one from this administration that we are not going to tolerate individuals who leak to the mainstream media, particularly when it comes to sensitive information. And the Secretary of Defense is doing a tremendous job, and he is bringing monumental change to the Pentagon. And there's a lot of people in this city who reject monumental change, and I think, frankly, that's why we've seen a smear campaign against the Secretary of Defense since the moment that President Trump announced his nomination before the United States Senate. Let me reiterate, the president stands strongly behind Secretary Hegseth and the change that he is bringing to the Pentagon, and the results that he's achieved thus far speak for themselves.
But not only are people not buying it, shopping pun intended here, they are making their voices heard, just how opposed they are to how this administration is running things, or ruining things, should I say.
The S&P has dropped the most under Trump for any president at this point in their presidency since the S&P 500 was in fact created back in 1957. And indeed, it is not anywhere close, folks. It's not anywhere close. Under Trump, it's dropped, get this, 14%. The next closest one was George W. Bush back in 2001, a drop of just half that at 7%. No other elected president at this point in their presidency saw a drop of 5% or more. So Donald Trump is on a planet all by himself, a planet you do not want to be on, the American people don't want to be on, in terms of the drop in the S&P 500 approaching 15% already in his presidency. No bueno.
I mean, look at the countless examples where Republican officials are being reprimanded at their own town halls, despite going to absurd anti-democratic lengths to try and vet those scheduled to appear and ask questions. They still can't avoid it.
Are you ready? You ready to go after me? The previous president, President Biden. So you don't want to hear the full story. You don't want to hear the full story. Allow me to educate and bring you the full story. When you're ready, I'm going to tell you, because I don't want you to yell and not hear the full story. Because you're not listening. Yes. Here we go. I'm going to tell you the full story. Here's the full story. The previous administration, Joe Biden, he authorized 53 students to have access to the same database during his administration. 53. He authorized 53 students to have access to the Social Security database. And I didn't hear anybody being upset when Joe Biden authorized it. So how do you be upset when it's that? Versus Elon Musk? That is not true. Again, if you're going to have a conversation about policy, then chances are otherwise Elon Musk to have access. I agree with that. Do you know who else agrees with it? Joe Biden. Because Joe Biden has full access to 53 students during his administration.
It does not help that Congress, your branch of government, has failed to function as separate and equal. From the start of the Trump administration, we've seen chainsaw cuts to federal agencies which were providing vital services to Americans. We've lost everything from food banks to medical research to the arts and education. The funds provided for these were appropriated by Congress to better our society and provide humane care for our neighbors and loved ones. And yet, when the president initiated cuts through Elon Musk, who I might add, no one voted for or was approved. Assert any objection. We are seeing wildly chaotic tariffs placed on the global economy, which, believe it or not, is not going to stimulate manufacturing in the United States in my lifetime, which does promise to generate a major recession very soon, and that will be in my lifetime.
And clearly, neither can their fearless cult leader.
I get it, because a lot of people are writing in, they're like, don't say it, I don't want to hear the word tariff again.
Love this video? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch and help us blow past 1 million followers.